Week 2 of the college football season has come and gone, and boy did we have some good games. I just posted a video going over my top 10 teams that impressed me the most from week 2. Today, I'm going to be sharing the 10 teams that disappointed me the most from week 2. These are the teams that I thought looked really bad and just didn't live up to expectations. But before we get to the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to the channel. If you love college football content, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know which team disappointed you the most this weekend. It helps the algorithm of the video and helps share it with more college football fans. We're going to kick off this video with Ohio State, who lost at home to Oregon. Now, losing to a team ranked this high isn't something truly awful, but the Buckeyes had aspirations of reaching the college football playoff this year. Now, they very likely still can, but they pretty much have to go perfect the rest of the season. This could have been a huge resume booster for them, but instead, it's something that potentially can hurt their chances at the end of the season. I talked about this the other day, but despite a nice box score, CJ Stroud made a number of mistakes that ultimately hurt the Buckeyes. He'll have to improve if Ohio State wants to reach the college football playoff. For the second straight week, Notre Dame was in a very close game with a team that they should have had a comfortable lead over. This week, it was Toledo, who was a 17-point underdog. Well, they played the Irish tight all game and honestly should have won the game with some smart play calling over the final few minutes. Notre Dame is 2-0, but they easily could be 0-2 at this point. For a team that has such strong playoff chances, they sure have underwhelmed so far to begin the season. It'll be interesting to see how they fare the rest of the way, as their next 6 games are against some really tough opponents. I have a feeling that Notre Dame could be in for a rude awakening moving forward. USC was so disappointing this weekend that it got Clay Helton fired. Ranked number 14 at home against Stanford, who was a 17-point underdog, the Trojans lost by 2 touchdowns. And it wasn't even close, as the Cardinals dominated for nearly the entire game. USC allowed a pretty bad Stanford offense to score 42 points on them. Now, this is a week after I praised the Trojans defense for looking so good against San Jose State last week. Keaton Slovis, well, he was underwhelming as he threw for 200 yards and only 1 touchdown. It's one thing to drop a game at home to a conference foe, but it's another to get blown out by the team you were supposed to blow out. During the offseason, I was talking about Florida State being a potential sleeper in the ACC. Last week, they played Notre Dame very close, and I thought this Seminoles team definitely was going to be able to do some damage. And how did they repay me? Well, by losing at home to Jacksonville State on a game-winning Hail Mary. It was just an awful game for Florida State, as the Gamecocks had more yards than them, and Florida State was only 4 of 14 on third down. They also had 11 penalties for more than 100 yards. It was just an awful game from Florida State, and I really don't know what to expect from this team moving forward. But I still can't get over how embarrassing it is to lose a game at home to a team you paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to beat. Although they won the game, Texas A&M struggled to beat Colorado. They needed their first touchdown in the final few minutes to beat the lowly Buffaloes. I will give a lot of credit to Colorado though, whose defense looked really good and was making life difficult on the Aggies. But come on, this is a top 5 team in the country, and you're telling me you're struggling to score against Colorado, a team who won't even be competing for the Pac-12 this season? For the game, A&M had only 14 first downs, and they went 8 for 20 on third down attempts. Although A&M won by 30 last week against Kent State, they were up only 7-3 at the end of the first half. There certainly are concerns with this offense moving forward, especially with quarterback Haynes King out for some time. Before I get to my next 5 teams, if you could give this video a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps share the video with more college football fans, and it only takes a second to do. I had the Iowa State Cyclones as a potential playoff sleeper entering the season, and yeah, that prediction isn't looking too good right now. After a close win over Northern Iowa, Iowa State fell at home to Iowa. This was the biggest matchup in the history of this rivalry, and the Cyclones were a dud. Brock Purdy got roughed up and threw 3 interceptions before he left with an injury. Breece Hall, for the second straight week, rushed for less than 70 yards. Overall, this Cyclones team has been very underwhelming after entering the season with the most hype in the history of their program. I think it's safe to say that Texas isn't back. Last week, the Longhorns had a very impressive victory over Louisiana, a team that I was very high on. I thought this Longhorns team would be solid. Yeah, then they went into Arkansas and just got humiliated. Granted, this Razorbacks team is a lot better than we were anticipating, but wow did Texas look bad. They nearly lost this game by 4 scores. Hudson Card was awful, and it looks like Casey Thompson is going to be the starting quarterback next week. Bijan Robinson averaged only 3.5 yards a carry and essentially made no impact. Things look a mess right now for Texas, but at least we had that 1 week of hope. NC State was a team that many people, myself included, had as a potential sleeper in the ACC in 2021. But they got absolutely manhandled against a Mississippi State defense that I don't think is going to be that good in 2021. A last-second touchdown saved NC State from losing by 21 points. They rushed for only 32 yards on 25 carries, and their offense looked completely awful. It's one thing if they would have had a close one, but they didn't even look competitive in this game. There's still a chance that they can compete in the ACC, but their first conference game of the season is going to be against Clemson, and we all know how that's going to go. After a laughable loss at home against Montana last week, the Washington Huskies had a chance to redeem themselves on the road against Michigan. Well, that didn't happen as they lost by 21. The offense still looked brutal as they scored only 10 points and had 50 yards on the ground. Through the first 2 weeks of the season, Washington has only scored 17 points, and this offense looks like they're going to stand no chance of winning a game moving forward. Dylan Morris doesn't look like the answer at quarterback, as he completed only 20 of 37 pass attempts. I'm not sure how things could get better moving forward, but it looks like Washington isn't quite the Pac-12 contender we all thought they'd be. Wrapping up this list will be Miami, who barely beat Appalachian State at home. A week after getting blown out of the water by Alabama, Miami nearly fell at home to the Mountaineers. De'Ara King didn't look good, as he completed less than 60% of his passes and didn't even have a touchdown. If Miami is going to compete in the ACC this season, it's going to be on the back of King, who just hasn't looked good through the first 2 weeks of the season while he's recovering from an ACL injury. The Hurricanes had a lot of hype entering the season. Hell, they were even ranked inside the top 15. But they've done nothing this year to show that they're worthy of even being a top 25 team in the nation. Well, those are the 10 teams who disappointed me the most this weekend. Drop a comment down below and let me know which team really let you down. Was there a team on here that I didn't include? Let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to the channel. I'll be posting college football videos like this all week, so if you're a college football fan, then this is definitely the place for you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.